Hey guys, my name is Miska and welcome to Overwatch Central. Today it's Friday, so we got a bunch of little posts and bits of news here and there that we want to sum up for you in one big video. Today's Friday Roundup, as we tend to call it. Anyway, we're gonna get straight into it and just dive straight into the news, tweets, posts and so on. And the first one is from the @PlayOverwatch Twitter account actually. So the summer games were announced, Lucio Ball was announced and competitive Lucio Ball was announced, and there were a lot of questions about how competitive Lucio Ball would work in various ways. Some of it was explained by the developers, but a lot of it is still sort of unclear, but we're finding out little bits and bobs here and there, such as from when @TheAnnihilator on Twitter tweeted @PlayOverwatch with the following question: will you be able to receive competitive points in competitive Lucio Ball? @PlayOverwatch then recently responded and said yes, the amount will be different though, as games are shorter than traditional competitive play game modes. Now this is very interesting because this means that if you have just a little bit more points that you need for that golden gun at the end of season 5, or you just want that little bit of extra chunk of competitive points to push for a golden weapon, you can actually do that with this little boost from Lucio Ball. Now, what I am wondering though is that are there going to be the sort of end of season rewards, as they have specified that there will be a top 500, the competitive Lucio Ball game mode will be available for 3 weeks, and it will sort of act as its own ranked mode. Judging from all this, I assume that you will get some sort of end of season rewards as well, but it's hard to say. It'd be nice to have some sort of minor end of season rewards, maybe a couple loot boxes, a chunk of competitive points or something like that, but we're just gonna have to wait and see until the event goes live in just 4 days from now actually. Moving on though from Lucio Ball, we have something completely different. It's happening on the US Battle.net forums. So this is on the typical Overwatch forums, and we have Jeff Kaplan, who just yesterday talked a little bit more about Orisa. There's a good pool of mixed thoughts on Orisa and her position in the current meta and just in the game overall, and this post in particular talked about how Orisa needs a mega buff to actually do well. It had a few downvotes from the initial post, but disregarding that and just continuing on to look at Jeff Kaplan's response here, we can get a little bit of insight as to what Blizzard think of Orisa's current position. So Jeff Kaplan comes in to say that we don't think she needs a mega buff. We are experimenting with some minor improvements though. Apologies for no details. We're trying a few things right now and not all of them are going to stick. Overall, we feel like she's not far off, but not quite in the ideal spot yet. Now, I definitely agree with this overall. I think Orisa's base idea and concept was very good. They were very clear when releasing her that she was going to be a sort of anchor tank and try to compete and sort of replace Reinhardt to some degree, just so there would be some competition for that spot. However, Orisa has just not quite found that spot just yet. It's good to hear that Orisa may be getting sort of minor buffs soon TM, but as of when this is happening, or if it'll even happen anytime soon, it's kind of impossible to tell really. I do definitely encourage Blizzard to be a little bit more aggressive with the PTR though. It's been kind of quiet lately. We know there are some updates coming, but I'd like to see more just crazy changes on the PTR just to try them out and see how they work, and I think the community is definitely up for that too. Anyway, minor Orisa buffs coming at some point, potentially, but that is all for that post from Jeff Kaplan. We're gonna move on, and now we have a little bit more sort of just fun posts here at the end. Not so much about gameplay in particular, but we do have Michael Chu clearing up some stuff about the Doomfist and Orisa timeline from a development standpoint mainly. Now, if you were lucky enough to be at San Diego Comic-Con just last week, you probably know of most of this already, but I'm gonna link the post in the description below. It's Michael Chu on the Battle.net forums, who is the lead writer in case you didn't know, who just talks a bit more about the development of Doomfist and Orisa and so on, when the different concepts came in, and just sort of giving people a little bit of a clearer timeline as to Blizzard's initial thought about making Doomfist, or just Doomfist as a concept and then making that into a hero, when Orisa came into play and how she fitted into the story. But a lot of it is from a developer standpoint, so I'm not gonna just repeat all of it here, but do go and read that if you want to. As per usual, link in the description. And for our final post of the day, and I know this is a little bit of a shorter roundup than usual, but I wanted to include this because I thought it was kind of fun and interesting, and it's Jeff Kaplan and Michael Chu, who we both had in this video already, in a post asking what was your first FPS/shooter. So this is in the general discussion bit of the Overwatch forum, so anything goes really, and it was just sort of a fun little thread for people to participate in. And like I said, Michael Chu and Jeff Kaplan both joined in. Jeff Kaplan first with saying Wolfenstein 3D, and this is a very old game from the early 90s, I believe, but it's cool to see Jeff Kaplan and Michael Chu just chip in on this sort of more common, just non-Overwatch discussion even. Michael Chu's answer is actually also Wolfenstein 3D, but he also says that though the first one I really sank hours and hours into was the original Quake, and I really don't blame him. A lot of Overwatch pros and just players come from the sort of Quake background, especially a lot of the slightly older players in the player base. But yeah, I wanted to include this because we don't normally see this sort of stuff be talked about anywhere, And hey, I thought it was kind of interesting. That is pretty much it though for the actual roundup though. Thank you very much for watching. Just as a reminder again, we've actually been expecting the PTR changes to hit this week. Maybe it'll be tonight, who knows. But then we have Summer Games next week on the 8th. And after that, the next sort of big milestone or date we have looking forward to is Gamescom, which I believe is on the 22nd or 21st. It goes over a couple days. Either way, I wanted to have that said, just because around the time that Blizzard tend to be preparing for announcements, they tend to go a little bit quiet. So if we're a bit shorter on news than usual, as you may have noticed in today's roundup, you know why. Alright, that's it for this video though. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe for more Overwatch content and like the video if you enjoyed it, all the usual stuff. Until next time, take care, and we'll see you then.